Hi, I'm Lucy Pimpernel Wood. Thank you for loaning my picture from Barnsley Home Library Service. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, about the picture, and about the processes that I use to create these works of art. I live in Penistone and I paint Penistone. I love that we have very recognisable landmarks here, like the viaduct. I like how things have changed in the town, but there are very many things that remain exactly the same. The culture of the town is really diverse, so we have the steelworks history, we also have all the farming background, and I think as a place we celebrate that. When I collect photographs to work from, some I've taken myself on walks around where I live, but many are from the town archive because I like to take black and white imagery and inject colour into it and paint it and give it a feel of the time in which it might have been taken. The name of this painting is Sykes Lane Snow, and it is a painting from a photograph that I took in 2022 on a walk up towards Hartcliffe. It's quite a famous walk in Penistone because it goes up a bridle path and you can see the farm on the top of the hill, you can see the farm that's in the dip. And what I really love about it is how the snow collects on the old dry stone walls, and you get that feeling of the light coming out and hitting that rich white surface, but injecting the blue and the shadow onto it. I hope you like looking at the painting and that your eye is led through the composition. So you should follow the dry stone wall up through the field to the little buildings that are in the background, but the dappled sky as well. It was a lunchtime walk. I don't think you can tell the time of day by how the painting looks. It could be morning, it could be sort of dawn, but it was lunchtime and the sky clouded over, but light was catching the snow and dappling through the clouds. The title of this painting is Aerial Penistone, and it's painted from a photograph that I got from the town archive. The photograph was taken in 2003, so it's more modern than what I typically work from. The reason that I selected it was because it holds an iconic view of Penistone from above, where we can see the viaduct, which instantly is recognisable. I like how you can see all the landscape disappearing into the background. You can see up towards Springvale, over towards Oxspring. I've heightened the colours on purpose. It's that green and pleasant land and that blue sky. It's a celebration of this place where I live. The title of this painting is Penistone from Netherfield, and I've worked from a photograph that was black and white from the town archive from 1910. So the location where the photograph has been taken from is where the grammar school currently is. So looking up towards Penistone, you can see the old Don Bridge, you can see the church on the hill, you can see Bridge End up the slope towards the church. There's many buildings that are currently still standing that you can recognise. What I like is how you get the feel of the old countryside and the more relaxed lifestyle that existed. If you look closely, you will see some people in this painting. You will see modes of transport that aren't currently used, and it's got a romantic feel, the way that paint is swished onto the canvas and how the colours are romanticised. The title of this painting is St John's Snow, and I painted it from a photograph in 2023 that I saw on social media. When I saw the photograph, I just knew I was compelled to paint it because I loved how the blue sky is really highlighted on the surface of the snow. I love the angle that the photographer took of the church, where you can see the altar window and you can see the extent of the church, but also the clock tower. There's other buildings in the distance that you might recognise, so Clark's Chemist and others on the other side of the road. I think there's a warm feel to the stone, even though it's an intensely cold day. The photographer managed to get there when the snow had settled, but it was so fluffy and light, like a wonderland. It's still sat in the trees, nothing's melted, and then the reflection of that blue sky on all the snow creates that feeling of, you want to walk on it, you want to press on it. I'm quite pleased with and proud of this painting. I hope you enjoy looking at it. This painting is called Market Hill, and it's unmistakably Barnsley. It's the 1960s. I've painted from a photograph that was black and white that I got from Penistone Town Archive, and I just saw it and loved the hustle and bustle of the stalls. I like the angle where the stalls are leading up into the distance where the town hall is. The faces of the people I enjoyed painting. I hope when you look at it, you start to see characters that you can identify with or possibly recognise. The colour was always hard on this one for me, because working from a black and white photograph, you have to go with what you know, or research that you might do. So the car colours, I had to research what they would have looked like at that time. And the town hall, I find that quite hard to paint, because when you look at it on different times of year, the stone looks sometimes cold, sometimes warm, and so I hope you enjoy looking at it. I don't start with a pencil outline. I start with a surface that has black acrylic paint. So the black acrylic, you can see, maps out where there's a track, where there's a stone wall, where there's a tree in the distance and the horizon line. The good thing about the acrylic is it won't move when you put watery surfaces on the top. So the grey that's over everything is watered down Indian ink. That's been soaked onto the paper, and then it's been placed on a drawing board and taped down with gum tape. Taping down the paper when it's wet means that it's expanded to its maximum, and as it dries it tightens, so it will stay really taut on the board. The final surface is gouache paint, and that is quite watery, so it helps. Having the paper stretched means that it won't buckle and it won't crease. The white bits you might wonder about, they are masking fluid. So in my composition there is some highlights in the sky that need to remain white, and there is some reflection in water that's on the track. So the masking fluid was peeled back, and then here I am starting to add the gouache paint. I've begun with green just because it was different to the grey and it's quite a predominant colour. You can see I've started with quite a small brush. I changed that early on because I want to just track in where the big bold shapes of colour are. I knew when I was looking at this photograph that the hard bit would be the reflections in the water and tracking that out. And also I wanted the sky to have some feeling to it. As I took the photograph myself, but as I took it, there was some really nice cloud formations, and the light coming through the cloud was reflecting onto the water. Colours, when I paint, I will heighten. So I'm looking down frequently at my reference photograph, but I might see a tinge of blue and make it more bold. I might add purple where it might have been brown, because I'm just trying to enhance everything that's there, but I'm keeping the structure the same. So the thing I think is important is tone, is light and shadow. So here I'm starting to put in some darker tones, and I think it gives it a more three-dimensional look. With a composition like this that leads into the distance to the horizon line, it is all about making a path for your eye through those dark areas. There's lots of undergrowth in here, so that's lots of small textures over the top of big bold shape. There's the tree going in. I have to draw it in pencil first. You'll see me pick it up in a second because I want to get the shape right. There it goes. And the brush that I'm using at this moment is called a rigger. It's got a very long bristle, so it holds the colour for longer. You don't have to keep redipping it quite as much. They use it a lot for glass painting. That rigger gets used for lots of small areas at the back where the water's catching in the path. It's a bridle path, this, that goes up from Penistone up towards Hartcliffe. It's quite well known. It's a really popular walk. I try to work quickly. I work in the evening, and the first thing I do the next morning is get up and have a look whether the piece of work reflects what I was trying to paint, and it gives me motivation for the next one or any changes that I need to make.